What happens to a child who has famous parents and grows up in the spotlight? I find Wolfgang Van Halen, the son of music icon Eddie Van Halen and actress Valerie Bertinelli, to be impressive. You're in for a big treat if you've ever wondered what it's like for the kid of a renowned person to go it alone. We will go more into Wolfgang's remarkable career, musical and personal metamorphosis in this piece. Additionally, I promise that when this video ends, your mouth will drop. This story is too good to miss, so keep watching. Most people can't help but forget Wolfgang Van Halen's name after hearing it. In case you were unaware, he was born to two of the most well-known figures in music and entertainment: Valerie Bertinelli, an actress, and the iconic guitarist Eddie Van Halen. Wolfgang was exposed to the world of fame from a young age. Few people are aware of how much time Wolfgang spent developing his own career, personality, and sense of self in his early years, despite coming from a well-known family. It's an amazing metamorphosis to grow up as the son of rock legends and then become a gifted musician in his own right. When you think about Wolfgang, you undoubtedly see a young man who is constantly in the spotlight. The truth is that he is the powerful offspring of two stars. Although Wolfgang's path hasn't always been straightforward, his emotional and physical transformations show how much he has grown. Beyond his appearance, he has changed into an amazing man who has established a distinct place for himself in the music industry. The first thing we should think about is Wolfgang's bodily change. You may have been shocked if you had seen any new pictures of him. His current look is entirely different from his childhood or even adolescence. Wolfgang grew up in the shadow of his well-known parents, and no one gave his personal sense of fashion or physical beauty any thought. But now, the young man we see on stage and in the streets is, to put it mildly, completely different. Wolfgang has undergone a more profound metamorphosis than just losing weight and changing his clothes. The most important thing is how his mannerisms and level of confidence have changed over time. Growing up in a spotlight-filled environment and coping with the death of his father, Eddie Van Halen, caused Wolfgang to struggle as a teenager. Despite everything, he was successful. His metamorphosis demonstrates that it is possible to make a fresh start and become someone entirely different. His path to improved fitness and health is motivational. Wolfgang has worked really hard in the last few years to get healthier. He battled with his self-esteem and the demands of growing up in the spotlight, much like other well-known individuals his age. However, Wolfgang has changed in some apparent ways as a result of his commitment to fitness and health. As he has talked about in interviews, maintaining a healthy lifestyle and exercising have played a significant role in his appearance. In addition to being a born rock star, Wolfgang's metamorphosis shows that he is a man who has conquered his life. It's about how you feel, not how you look. The next subject to be covered is the musical metamorphosis. Many people might be surprised to learn that Wolfgang has been on stage all of his life. His father, Eddie Van Halen, had the most influence on him when he first began learning to play the guitar. Wolfgang grew up seeing his father play amazing solos on stage, but he was also learning, growing, and developing in the music business. But as he grew older, Wolfgang understood that being Eddie Van Halen's child was not all he wanted from life. He aspired to fame for his own compositions and his influence on rock and roll. Wolfgang's first album with his band, Mammoth WVH, really ushers in his new age. This is a compelling, poignant autobiographical document that demonstrates Wolfgang's progress. The CD features a lot of contemporary metal, hard rock, and alternative music. However, the depth and sincere emotion of the song made it stand out. Simply listening to each song reveals that it conveys a tale. Wolfgang has developed a distinctive voice of his own, and it is obvious that he is ready to emerge from his father's shadow and establish himself as a well-known solo performer. The most amazing aspect of Wolfgang's journey is not just his physical and artistic development, but also his personal development. As a child, Wolfgang was often in the news. His mother was a charming actress, and his father was a great Bertinelli. Being famous was not easy, particularly if you were still figuring out who you were and what you wanted to do with your life. Wolfgang's father, Eddie, died in 2020 after a protracted fight with cancer. The passing of Wolfgang's father was one of the most trying events of his life. Wolfgang, however, has chosen to use music as a means of healing rather than allowing his pain to define him. Mammoth WVH is about his travels as well as a tribute to his father. He has been candid about his personal hardships, which have had a significant impact on his songs. Wolfgang has demonstrated strength and maturity by enduring personal adversity, despite the trip's difficulties. In the future, what plans does Wolfgang Van Halen have? The possibilities are endless now that he has demonstrated his abilities. Consider his journey from a timid, quiet person to a confident, successful rock star as evidence of his tenacity and will. Given his band Mammoth WVH's ongoing popularity, Wolfgang seems to have an even more promising future. We are eager to see what the future has in store for him as his musical career is still in its infancy. If Wolfgang Van Halen's amazing metamorphosis inspires you as much as it does, please like the post and comment on his journey. Do you know him from when he was Eddie Van Halen's kid, or are you only now discovering his music? Make sure to subscribe for more updates on the celebrities whose amazing metamorphoses astound us. Themes of development, resiliency, and, above all, coming into one's own, are prevalent throughout Wolfgang Van Halen's narrative. It is exciting to read about his journey from being the child of rock stars to being a rock star himself. We have witnessed his physical and emotional metamorphosis, which is inspiring. Remember how far he has come and how much more he can do the next time you hear his music or see him perform.